Testing 1, 2. I think, yep, should be good. Hopefully, as for always, we pray for it not being scuffed, but we will be at the mercy. Okay, yeah, let's just go ahead and hop right back in. No reason to beat around the bush here. Been thinking about what I was doing last time. Mainly saying about the different rules and stuff. So one thing I want to make that was the thing that was like edging my mind. I was like, what am I forgetting? The thing I was forgetting was the reason for the no sleeping rule, right? Why no sleeping? Why disabling phantom? So number one, it's just so we can enjoy our builds at all days and times, but it is to really emphasize the the thing is, right, I can make a bunch of different arbitrary rules for myself, but the thing about having a big load of random arbitrary rules is eventually I'll just stop wanting to follow them. Like that's really just how what it comes down to. Eventually it'll just be a thing of okay, yeah, I don't really give a crap about following them anymore. So the knight gives a very big reason for me to care about um, the Eternal Knight gives me a very big reason to care about the making paths and like permanent infrastructure between builds. And so the other thing coupled with that, a clarification of the paths. When I was saying, well, we are going to use an Elytra, but we also need to make permanent paths between everything. Yes, so basically, the Elytra is a fair game for movement, travel, basically whatever I want to do. The caveat is like I said, the travel just can't be an Elytra. The reason for that is I want the world to be navigatable without wings, right? Without elytra wings. Now, it can be a combination of many things, and it can even be, in certain cases, uh, rare, like, quote unquote, like, rarer things of travel. Like, I could have a structure that already have somewhat of an idea for this, sort of a half underground, half above ground structure to where the under the water the bit, is taken care of probably by a conduit of sorts, right? But then the above ground section is navigated by using a Riptide Trident, and you're using Riptide to explore. So I think like that is like a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Like not just anything's fair games for that. Flying machines, Riptide, Tridents, minecarts, ice boats. You know, really trying to push the envelope of making infrastructure without wings. I think that also will play into a big reason of why I think I'm not gonna as we saw last time, unless I die randomly in the early game. Once I get out of the early game, which is basically, in my opinion, Prot 4 Enchanted Diamond Armor or better. Once I'm at that point, really the only ways I'm going to die is through putting myself into a situation that's just obviously awful and then getting punished for it. Or as you see a lot of people lose their hardcore worlds, especially to what I say really just like Elytra shenanigans, or just really, really Elytra shenanigans. Either killing themselves directly with an Elytra, or their world being in a position to where, like, I think there's one famous example of, like, forget who, but pretty popular YouTuber. I watched his hardcore series. He died. I'm sure somebody probably will know what I'm talking about. He died on the nether roof because his build, you couldn't actually leave the big nether portal he had on the nether roof in this like huge like build. Super impressive build. Like he's gone through that nether portal over the course of like I mean minimum of 100 hours of game time probably literally hundreds of times he's gone through that nether portal. But every time he's gone through that nether portal, he had wings on. He had the elytra. So he never realized, up until the point he was getting clapped out by a bunch of hostile mobs, that you can't actually walk out of there. It's actually too high. There's no... Okay. So this is one thing that could clap me out. Is that we're just leaving. We just don't even mess, actually, with that. So what we're gonna do actually is just completely strip mine the opposite direction. We're not messing with the ancient city. Cool to know that it's down there. That is like way later down the line we might start screwing with an ancient city. That is way outside our pay grade. Good loot in there. Even if it is, maybe it is an ancient city. Probably is. We are at literally bedrock. So I have to imagine probably an ancient city if Deep Dark is, you know. Caves don't really trend to go near bedrock like this. Unless it's a big structure. So that's either like a huge underground cavern or an ancient city, likely an ancient city. Likely to be a lot of ancient cities because of, you know, how they spawn and amplified rules. Wonder what... Can I see my biome, this F3 setting? Don't think so. Don't think I can see... I can just see Minecraft overworld. So that's... So I don't know how that changes with the amplified. If that changes how... If everything counts as a mountain, then that means ancient cities can spawn wherever. God, where was I with... Yes, so getting clapped out. Yeah, so that was just something... It was like he died entirely because... Realistically, he had never actually walked and used his methods of exploring and getting around and traversing his world without an elytra. And that's also another reason for the amplified worlds, is normal Minecraft world, even just a normal horse, like a boat or something, you can get around pretty well. With an amplified world, having the permanent infrastructure in place will make traversing the map exponentially easier, but on top of ensures that I'm not put into a precarious situation to where I might end up dying because of a lack of mobility or a way to traversal the map. If I lose my wings for whatever reason, right? Obviously, if you're not a doofus, it's like, well, I always have my ender chest on me with a 24 fully enchanted shulker box full of elytra wings and rockets ready to go at a moment's notice. I can just pull it out and use it. It's like, sure, okay. 100%. That is a thing. But also, what we're trying to do is put in permanent unhuman error related safeguards. That's another big thing with totems, right? Is totems in Minecraft, unless you have one of those auto mods that can kind of just shove them into your offhand, you are particularly restricted by human reactions, especially if you have multiple totems on you. It's like one totem pops. I mean, if you have frame-perfect reactions, you know, an auto mod will go boom, boom, and you probably won't even see the inventory screen open. It's that fast, as another totem will be just shunted into place to keep you alive. I think I just want a bit more deep slate. Just kind of finishing up the house collection here. Getting some odds and ends here. If we can get some more diamonds while we're down at this level, that'd be cool. Wouldn't mind a diamond set of pants or something like that. But yeah, so really just trying to reduce the burden on me to play perfectly, because eventually, the thing is, we're all human when we're playing Minecraft. Eventually, you're gonna slip up and make a mistake. What you need to make sure is you have things in case of you failing that can then save you from the inevitable mistakes, because we're all humans. That's the only thing we can be 100% certain of, is that eventually I'm going to slip up and make a mistake or something boneheaded decision and be in a position to die. and 999 times out of 1,000, I'll have a backup and be able to get out of it. So, like, for example, be like, I fall off and slip off an edge precariously. Okay, well, I have an elytra, and I just fly away. Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. But also, that, at that point, is sort of like the monkeys on typewriters thing, to where, like, eventually you'll reach all the different scenarios of, okay, well, what if you have 2 human errors in a row? 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Human errors in a row. You're just basically, probability, you're very, very extremely unlikely to die, but as time goes on, you're just very slowly but methodically running, rolling the odds over and over and over again on, are you actually going to end up, beansing it up and dying? Which is why it's important to have non-human, basically things that can save me that aren't reliant upon me saving me, if that makes sense. So, like, a good example would be, if I'm going someplace, like, pretty awfully dangerous, so, like, say, the End or the Nether, doing the fishing rod through another portal for, like, an Ender Pearl stasis chamber. That's, like, a perfect example. Like, sure, it's still up to my human reactions to use a fishing rod, but it does save me from a lot of scenarios of, I get stuck, right? Like, oh, I've placed my ender chest down to recover from, say, a piglin brute breaks my shield and starts clapping me out. I kill it, I'm on, like, say, half a row of hearts, and then I'm like, okay, great, I just get lazy. Phew, the danger's gone, and I just slam down my ender chest. Oh, that's convenient. I just slam down my ender chest, and, start getting my crap. That right there is exactly why you mine around the diamonds. Make sure you get every last little nook. But yeah, and that's sort of, yeah, so, like, if I'm in a scenario like that, okay, great, put my ender chest down, then, oh, another Piglin Brute 2.0 drops down from some higher point in the bastion and crits me out on his way down. Now I'm on, like, a heart or less, and I just bury myself into a wall. Okay, great. I'm stuck in a wall, isolated, with no resources, pinned in, and my only way to get more resources is outside. It's like, okay, at that point, it's easy enough. I can just hit the fishing rod, abort the nether thing entirely, and go back. Of course, making sure I have enough hearts I don't kill myself on the pearl damage on my way back on the return trip, because that would be embarrassing. But that's just a good example. It's like non-human, like, savior examples would probably be the totem on the offhand, like the first totem in the offhand, not accounting for inhuman reactions and gimmicks, that kind of stuff of, like, slotting in multiple totems. Just like in the slip and fall scenario, you slip and fall, well, I slip and fall in this case, falling to my death. For whatever reason, I screw up the elytra, either, like, hit a rocket too early, fly awkwardly in a wrong direction, take impact damage, completely screw it up, fat fumble the elytra, whatever, hit the ground, should be dead, totem pops, it saves me. That is sort of like a much better example of, like, okay, there's no actual input involved from me. I would be dead, but the totem will save me from the first impact of whatever is going to kill me, right? I can take 1 billion points of fall damage, and I'll be fine, because the totem will tank all of it. This is also why I just burn the diamond picks. One good reason why I just burn the diamond picks and do not care about saving them for enchants, because I would have already burnt through, I mean, what, these are about 251, right? So this is, I would have burnt through basically 3.5, probably 3 and then quarter or like half of a fourth of an iron pick, and wouldn't have mined nearly as much as I have already. And I've gotten my, the diamond pick's already paid for itself. So anything else past this is always bonus. So in terms of diamonds, of course, in terms of resources alone, it's well worth the better progress, especially in Deep Slate, man. Iron pickaxes in the early game, I used to be someone who would, like, play a Minecraft world and I would never break a single diamond pickaxe or any diamond tool. Like, my original OG diamond pick, if it gets low, I would just put it inside of a chest on, like, 0 HP and 0 durability, and then nurse it back to health once I had mending and, like, fully kitted it out and made it probably, like the Silk Touch pick or whatever. Ooh, more diamonds. Nice. I think I'm gonna get robbed on this vein, though, sadly. Yep. If there was gonna be more, it would have spawned down here. This is really low on the bedrock. Whoa, that's... Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow. This might be one of the lowest sections of bedrock. I don't think that's too rare. Okay, as I said, I was getting scammed on the diamonds. It made up for itself. It was like, alright, we're sorry. I feel a little bit bad about the one diamond spawn rate. Here's another one. I think... I don't think I can pull it up. This is definitely a chunk border, though. For a second, I thought that was the ambient, crashing minecart soundtrack playing, but no, it's just thunderstorming on the surface. That's another thing that we're going to have with this world, is because we're never sleeping, we're going to have a ton of rain on this world, like a ton of rain, which is not a bad thing. It just makes it so that mobs aren't going to despawn commonly during the day, which can be a bad thing, but I'm fine with that, because it further reinforces the fact that I should be spawn-proofing my areas, making safe ways between different areas, permanent infrastructure. That's part of, like, all these rules. It's like, on their own, individually, they promote a certain style of gameplay I'm aiming for. This, like, permanent infrastructure, like, slower, methodical paced, really, like, naturally emergent building style, if that makes any sense to people. Not a sense of, like, oh, I just build a house and it's just here on a plains and that's it, and I just don't care about anything around my house because I just sleep every night away. It's like, okay, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, like, oh, do I build walls? Do I maybe build another structure? For example, I'm, like, built into a cliff face, but even when I build my house out from it, I still have that taller bit of the mountain ahead of me. Now, right now, it's actually pretty dangerous. Mobs can hop down from there and explode on me, or spiders who don't take fall damage, right? Like maybe a strength and invis spider easily could spawn and drop down, or even a spider jockey and start assaulting me. So it would be useful to at least first make a way up to the top of the mountain, and then also to torch it off to prevent spawns from happening up there permanently. But eventually up there, it would be actually useful. Something I could put a second building, maybe even auto farms, or structures, storage, maybe a smelting array, normal farms, because, again, this is amplified, so, like, huge plateaus of flat areas are not going to be super common, and ones that are realistically probably need to be conserved for actually, like, important builds that can't be lopsided, so it's probably going to be a lot of, like, terraced farms. Okay, that's a little Minecraft ambient cave sound. What are we looking at? Okay. I always like to just keep one stack of blocks on me. I don't ever like to have no blocks on the hotbar. No blocks on the hotbar is risky. is risky business. I'm not a fan of that. Huge redstone vein is really nice. But yeah, so like emergent building techniques and styles of like, holy, this is like the biggest redstone vein I've ever mined. But yeah, so like emergent building techniques and styles of in progression of the building. Like you know, it's like naturally to get up the mountain, I would build a path, and that plays into, well, okay. All right, so we're just out. We added this, John. We added this, John, and we're probably actually done mining down here, because that, what I'm really unsure of is I know it's 3 activations of Shriekers spawn the Warden. But what I don't know is that 1 and that's 2, or is that 1 that's a completely separate instance, or it's been long enough and how that works. The last time I really majorly played the game was in 1.18 vanilla. And then all the modded instances of the game I've been playing are, quite frankly put, much older. You know, 1.12 is like the newest technical version of it. So I don't really know how Warden mechanics works, because even when I played 1.18, I never bothered with the Ancient City for the simple reason of, 1, they were just aggressively hard to find when they first came out. They definitely upped the spawning of them a lot in the recent years. But also, I don't know if that's factual. Don't take my word for it, and don't crucify me if I'm wrong. But from probable confirmation bias from my own personal experiences, it feels like they definitely made them more common. I think up here is... No, I already passed. I think that gravel was where my turn was. This is the problem with the old deep slate mine. Can't really get lost down here, because it'll just be on our left eventually. Copium, right? Oh god. No, I don't think I went far enough. This is another thing you shouldn't do. I kind of screwed up. There is a better way to strip mine like this, so you don't get just endlessly lost down your quarters. The 2 ways I like to do it is torch flipping, or by staggering. The hallways. Yeah, okay. I did stagger the hallways here. I was just coping. So this is what normally what you'd want to do is probably, and realistically it doesn't matter since you're going in both ways. It just stops you from going that way too much further. But like, you'd mine down here, and then you'd mine this one down this way, and this one would be this way. So you're always going to a flat bend and then going, or if you are face to face, you can just always put the torches towards the side of the mine out. So on, well, you wouldn't want to do it in this case, but like, what you do is basically, yeah, exactly like I have here, to where like here the torches are all on the left side of the hallway, and then here the torches are also on the left side of the hallway when you're right looking down. Okay, that's, yeah. But if you were in here, the torches are on the right side of the hallway when you're walking out. And then down here, they're on the right side of the hallway when you're walking out. And then once you go into here, you're like, oh, the torches are on my left now, so this is the wrong way. And here, oh, the torches are on my left. This is the wrong way. Oh, the torches are on my right. Now I come this way. Oh, the torches are on my right. Sort of like a... I don't know if this works entirely, but it's... The way I always imagine it in my mind is it works sort of like the trick to where if you have a maze with no isolated sections, you can put your hand on the right side of the wall and drag it, and eventually you'll reach the exit eventually, in sort of the terms of like, instead of basically skipping that and doing like a flow search of a maze instead, to where, hey, if the torches are on my left side, that means I'm going the wrong direction. Wrong direction. wrong direction because torches are on the left side. Oh, they're on the right side now. This is wrong. Right side, this is correct. Till you make your way back up. Now, it does means you have to be pretty prolific and always ensuring that the torches are on the left side, which, as you can see by me not even mentioning it up to this point or even really thinking about it, I've slammed all of the torches down on the left side of my screen every single time. Probably has to do with the fact that I'm right-handed, and so my left is considered my offhand, so I'm putting things on my off to the left. Probably some science or, you know, reasoning behind that. But I am not a biologist or a psychologist, so I would not know on either of those. We do want some diorite. I know. Don't crucify me, okay? I'm just getting some diorite. You gotta give it a chance. It's not bird shit, I swear. It's not. Just give it a chance and the diorite will love you back. I promise you. Listen, take it from a, OG diorite tier 1 hater, okay? Trust me, I'm well aware that it looks like bird poo. Okay, let's be real. And when you're only building with diorite, it's bad. But polished diorite does look good. And especially in coastal builds, the raw diorite, just the normal, does look really good. It's like a gradient block in a lot of the coastal walls and that kind of thing. It's honestly, in terms of modern Minecraft, if you're someone who struggles with building, as I do a ton, quite honestly, the number one thing I really would just harp on and suggest for anyone is, if you're looking for a, quick and easy way to level up your building, just use a pattern gradient. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just start small by picking 3 blocks. So, if you're someone who, say for example, you're building your standard oak and cobblestone house, for example, right? What I would suggest, make your walls. Say you do, the little logs in the corners, and you make your walls a certain way of, the stone, and you do a wood roof. What I would just suggest you do, make the walls, it's okay, cobble, you've got 1 block. Throw in 2 one darker block than cobble, and 1 similar or slightly lighter block than cobble. So you can pick anything. It can be andesite, it can be stone, maybe even gravel is a good choice, very unnatural choice. You can even do on the bottom of the wall, maybe even something like coarse dirt, right? Coarse dirt could be a good bottom block, coarse dirt into a andesite and cobble mix. If you're trying to do more of a rustic, you could also do stone brick and cobble and mossy cobble if you're near a jungle with vines. Just something 3 block gradient. And then that just, man, it's a world of difference. It's immediately switched from man, this sort of looks it looks good. The geometry of it looks good, but it doesn't look good. And then you do just a couple little gradient tricks like that. Man, it really levels up how just good the thing looks. It's just really impressive how far something so simple. There it is. Okay. Yeah, it really is just impressive how much something so little and inconsequential as just a simple little bit of a gradient can turn a whole build around just completely and make it just new and exciting. Yep, these kelp dividends definitely paying off. So we're now net positive on the kelp. This is another thing I suggest for people if you're like early game. Before I start spreading misinformation, it's 20 items. So essentially, I just had to Google that real quick, so I wasn't spreading misinformation. But yeah, it smelts. Best way I can put it is to craft it. It's basically one coal and one bit of wood, or any wood thing, of like ticks to smelt. 9 kelp, obviously, and then your one thing of kelp. Basically, 9 burnables, if you want to put about it, like 9 burnable actions to make a kelp block. But then it can smelt 20 burnable actions, so it's like a net positive, gross 20, but a like profit of like not like it's a profit of 11 um burnable items. So if you have like inventory slots to spare, it is pretty efficient on uh, conserving early game resources. So the first thing I want to do is immediately come up here and light all this up while we have a chance. I'm gonna light up the immediate dark corners. Underneath this whole thing. All of these bits that are dark and bad. And basically the majority of this plateau, if not all of it. Where did my torches go? Oh, I only had so many in my offhand. But yeah, this is like a pretty isolated plateau. Obviously, not all of it is. We've got some lower sections down through here. Is this... I hear it. Sounds like over here. Oh, wow, that's super convenient. We will come right back to this lava, actually. I just want to uncover the edge so we can get a real look. Good amount of lava. This is actually... Oh, this really helps back over here. This is more than enough lava to get my little project online, as we all saw earlier, last time with the old drippy stone. Getting lava buckets. That's another like early game fuel source that is way underrated. Iron, if you're in a very like iron rich spawn, like I am because I'm amplified, but if say you just are playing a normal world and you happen to spawn in a place with lots of iron, a cauldron is relatively low investment for what it returns, in the fact that like you can actually smelt entire furnacefuls of items for what is essentially free, because odds are if you place it somewhat in your base, it'll be refilled by the time you come back. Okay, I think just up there. Obviously, I'm just trying to... Oh, this is where it was, yeah. Some bad muchachos up there. That should be more than enough to keep... Obviously, a creeper's still going to wander out of there. That's the other problem. It'll stop skeletons, and especially zombies who have not the best wander ranges from coming up, but yeah, it'll stop the bulk for now until I can seal it up properly. Just go ahead and make this cut here. We really just want to light up the whole area for a lot of different reasons. Number one, it makes it safer, obviously. It also stops any chances of us losing our home. The big torched up area is obviously much easier to find. Even more so than in a normal world, because the light is going to go much further than in a normal world because it is amplified, and you're going to be able to see it from a much further amount of like distance away. But also because sources of natural light like this in an amplified world are much harder to come by, right? You're not going to have just villages everywhere. And so clear-cut, flat areas with torches are just going to stand out like a sore thumb. Which is really convenient, because it's not like we're playing 2B2B or some, you know, PvP multiplayer server or something where we need to hide from people. We're trying to make our stuff actually as visible as humanly possible. Because anything that's invisible is might as well good as gone. Because if we don't have a permanent path to it, it needs to be well lit up. That's another reason. It's like, say for example, I have this area, and oh, I don't know. I made like some farms along there, and I have like a bridge. I don't need to make a certain path through the entire thing, but if like that's all lit up and there's a path to it, then it's pretty obvious what that is. Or even if I have like, I don't know, something up there, like as long as that's torched up, that whole like little plateau up there, then as long as I can see it from a major area, then it's obvious that, hey, it's over there. I obviously didn't lose that. Speaking of griefing crap, let me just do this. Put my last torch right up there. It is getting night. Do want to keep all of this stuff. Let me get just too much stick. We'll have more space once we do this. Remove the rest of the stick. Yep, okay. Just put one down here. And here. We'll take cobble. Speaking of griefing myself, that was dumb to just leave an open pit of lava. Kind of just chilling out. Do need to also torch up this lower area. Zombie aggro ranges are pretty far, but I'm not really worried about zombies. I'm really just concerned about majorly just creepers more than anything else. Go ahead and take this moment just to mine some coal. Get our coal supplies back up. So we are burning through them. That's another reason why the kelp is good, and switching to like lava pretty quickly will be good, so we can save our coal for torches. For some reason I thought it was getting night. I don't know, maybe solar eclipse or something? I could have sworn it was going night. But yeah, any of this kind of stuff, we definitely need to torch it up completely. Okay, while we're waiting for night, I think we'll just... I don't have any inventory slots left. It's unfortunate. That is definitely on me. I was a bit too gung-ho in collecting the building blocks, quite honestly. That's glow lichen. That's pretty cool to have right here. I think I can propagate and spread that with bone meal, and I definitely will. That is a building block I've never built with glow lichen. Another thing I would like, I think I did see a jungle event, like at some point on the last stream. I would like to get access to vines eventually for mossy cobble and mossy stone brick and mossy stone, you know, all that good stuff. Because I do like the mossy stuff. And I know they added that forever ago at this point, being able to craft the mossy variants with vines, but I personally haven't had the chance to build with it all that much yet, and I am looking forward to that. Okay, any like freaking poo holes like this, we're just gonna torch and seal that up, because quite honestly, I'm not dealing with that trash. Yeah, clear cutting this all does a couple different things. Like I said earlier, it makes it more obvious. We also need the wood for the industrialization of the world. But no, we do actually just need the wood, and we do need the space as well around the house. That's another thing about security. So this is a big thing with so a history thing. If any of my North American people, huge thing here, especially in the United States, but even in Mexico. Mexico has a really big culture of it as well, with mainly the like plazas and the it's someone who's down there will know the word, but it starts with a T and it has to deal. It's not a terrace, but it has to deal with it is an actual like full-on Spanish word with not really an English translation. But basically, the big central courtyards, you have them all over in Spanish. It was a holdover from the um, Reconquista times. Um, it's sort of like a Spanish take on like an Arabic building style. It's super cool. How the places, but basically, it's like the big gardens with cool parts and like water in the middle of like the Spanish uh, adobe buildings and stuff. Super cool. That sort of came to America. So getting back to the clear cutting thing, because it's a big long. I try to not lose track, but basically, clear cutting is basically what Americans do with their lawns. And people, that's like a huge thing. I know I see people on like Twitter and on the internet in general, just being like, man, it's so dumb Americans do all this stuff with their lawns. Why can't we just have native grasses? And I agree with them. I'm a very big native plant enjoyer. I actually have a huge garden going right now. I'm growing over 1,000 onions of a heirloom North American variety, which I'm hoping will turn out very nice. Um, but the point of clear cutting things is not actually a New World thing. It comes from the Old World, Europe, and it comes from, as popularized here in the United States, as we know, it comes from Britain. And what it was is basically in the medieval times, you had all these castles, and what they would do is around the castles, they would chop down all of the forest and grasslands and flatten it around the castle. Because otherwise, the invaders would just, anyone trying to assault the castle would just sneak right up to the walls and then just come right in and would just attack. So, to keep the castle safe, you would have everything well lit and you would cut down all the trees and make sure the grass is trimmed so no one can like, you know, solid snake, stealth crawl through the tall grass and then sneak up and over the walls when somebody's not looking. So after all of the wars basically were done, all the Nobilic wars basically, and you had the actual consolidation of like actual country states. Just noticing that floating thing. Anyway, so once you had the actual consolidation of like legitimate country states, not just like you have the King of England, but he's got 27 different lords underneath him who constantly go to war over petty fiefdoms and counties and kill each other, and not really kill each other, but kill a bunch of peasants and maybe some knights at points to decide who gets to be king of the, not king, but the Earl of Sandwich, who gets to the rightful land, basically. So after that was all done, and basically all the castles were owned by just rich people, and it was a big thing for the rich people to properly maintain the castle. And in the castle defenses, sometimes we're all human and they're not the richest people and it's war times, but you had a lot of times to where the castles, the defenders would, be lackluster, not lackluster, lackadaisy about the defenses. And so what happened is once the nobles and once the really just rich people, like rich aristocrats and capitalists and old money people, took over the castles as like basically homes and estates, it was a prestigious thing and very just like a societal, like, look at me, I'm so rich that I can have this castle and it's properly maintained. That's and that was like a huge, essentially like flexing your Bugatti in in England, flexing your Bugatti in England in medieval, not even medieval, but like post like late medieval Europe and like post, nation state Europe was like, um, yeah, you have a castle and you're so rich that you can just pay people full time to work in your castle and upkeep your castle, and yeah, it's basically, the equivalent of, uh, you know, showing off your Bugatti or whatever, which is, I mean, just funny to think of it like that. Always like that reference. People really haven't changed over the years. People are very much the same as they are now as they were back then, and any convince people trying to convince me otherwise, I will respectfully have to disagree. You've got the same types of people now as you did back then, and they are cut from the same cream. But yeah, so that's sort of what we're doing here. Is basically a long-winded say of like the other reason to chop down all these trees is, man, look how easy it is now when everything's well lit up. I can easily see where the lava is. I can also easily see, man, if there was a zombie coming from up and over the hill, or a creeper, I would see it from very long away. If there was a spider jockey, for example, trying to sneak up, or just a normal spider, say with like potion effects, or maybe it's invisible, I have a real chance at being able to see and detect that spider well before it comes up and gets me, because everything's lit up. It's not crawling through a bunch of random ass grass, and it's dark, and there's trees, and it's climbing the trees, and it's jumping down on me from the trees, all that kind of stuff. This cliff is much higher than I thought it was. It's not really that much of a risk. It's definitely still a minor risk, especially once I start building up. I plan on building, now that it's clear as well, it also makes it easier to plan and see exactly where I would want to place this structure. And I think the natural spot, if we're looking from up here, our biggest vantage point is placing it obviously like here, because this gives the most, over here gives the most, because we're also thinking about where we want sight lines from. Here gives the sight lines from that mountain crest, coming in from that valley, over there, obviously looking off from here. But yeah, okay. It did not take long for my point to be proved by old creepy boy here. Man, so like, yeah, if I'm like here, like, I'm just building here like a doofus, and this guy just jumps down on my skull and explodes, like, obviously that. Now, obviously he's not going to jump down now because I'm out of range, but if I started to, like, say, build a structure here and build up, then yeah, he's coming. Yeah, so that, I'm glad, very convenient, Creeper, to go ahead and show yourself like that and prove my point. Thank you. That's very nice of you. But yeah, so like it's sight lines, so like over here as well, you've got, right, you can see from all the different sight lines, you can see coming over there. You can see, oh, that is spruce, so that's nice. You can see through this entire valley. You can see coming through there and off those mountains. If it's tucked in close, you won't be able to see it from this way. Obviously, you'll see the torches, but I do want this structure to be able to be seen. This structure here won't be the tallest. If I do put up a structure to be seen from around, it'll definitely be up there. That's just a very natural point. Simply because anything coming from this direction, if I'm coming over these mountains, I'll easily be able to see all of this. And that being also across on like an angle fills in, basically, if you're like basically imagining pieing the sight lines of like coming into this valley. This pies like all of this direction, but sort of has lackluster from behind the pie, and then that inversely pies this way to where this is down, so it's easier to see from, like, this is down in the valley, so it's easier to see when you're down in here, and that's higher up. You might think, for example, like, oh, if you're higher, so this is another big thing. People might think, oh, if you're higher up, well, obviously, it's easier to see it, so you should make all of your identifiers high. There's no reason to have a structure as an identifier low. Well, a perfect example is that. Huge-ass floating platform. Not really huge, but, like, pretty beefy. floating platform with a tree on it. I didn't even notice that. I've been here in this area for over 2 hours now, and I didn't even notice that thing. It's just been up there. So if you're walking along, or like say, for example, your tower's up there, and you come, say, through this valley. Okay, you miss it because it's on this side, and that side is blocking that angle up that direction to see it from there. You walk through, you pass through here, and you just pass completely through this area without seeing that. But if you had then, I don't know, just any amount of torches in this valley floor, you would see that from anywhere within the valley. You wouldn't see the valley floor torches from anywhere outside the valley, but you'd see it from in the valley. So that's what this is basically acting as. So this is our pie this direction from scene, because if you're coming into this direction from anywhere of like where I'm scanning now, you'll see the area I'm in. That will act as the entry on this direction. This area acts as if you're entering from the lower directions or in the valley trying to navigate. You'll see this. And if you're up high on some of the ledges and maybe have like, oh, you're tucked away up there, or maybe, say for example, you're up there at that humongous ice peak that is way up there, that is like hundreds of blocks above us. Okay, well, you're not going to see this, but you'll see that. So it's, then you have the elevation differences. So that's sort of what I'm talking about by like visibility in terms of like establishing yourself permanently, like, or establishing myself permanently, back to like the rules thing of how are all these rules interacting? What do they count as? Like this is what I mean by establishing myself in an area, making it truly livable, truly navigatable without wings. And that also includes in terms of, I'm sorry, but I need your mutton. That also includes, especially in terms of, do hate birchwood. I'm sorry, birchwood, but you will be sacrificed. But yeah, that also includes in terms of navigational directions, like, so I'm not just blindly stumbling about. Like, it doesn't just stop with, oh, I can get around and I'm just going entirely off, rot memorization, which is fine up until the point to where you start forgetting things, or just in the heat of moment, don't have time to really properly assess a situation. It's like, okay, if I'm sprinting away from a bunch of hostile mobs, am I really gonna have the time to, like, in a moment's notice, like, memorize and, the missile knows exactly where it is? Like, no, I'm not gonna be able to do that. So it is useful to be like, oh, I'm being attacked. There are torches and lights. Run to torches and lights. There is a very easy and convenient path that is mob-proof to run up to. Okay, great. Do that. Sprint up mob-proof path. Profit. Like that is what I want the situation to, devolve into. Not, oh my god, I'm just running for my life and just getting gunned down relentlessly. And it's like, okay, what good did that do, actually? Did none. I just don't want to waste an extra kelp block, which is why I'm doing it this way. We can just go ahead and grab an extra kelp each. Kelp is good. I back before dripstone was added and kelp was OG added in like 1.14, I used to make kelp farms, and kelp farms were really good. I'm going to take, though, just for now, I'm going to take this and make a very ugly 1-block bridge. We need more torches. I'm going to make a very ugly 1-block bridge over down to there, chop down a couple trees. I do need to make another axe, so I'm just going to make a diamond axe. I'll keep this one for now. How much durability? It's enough to build. 1, 2, 3. Axe. If this breaks, I've got these guys still left. Iron picks are more than serviceable for keep some amount of stick on me. Stick is something I always like to just keep on myself, so it's very convenient to have sticks. With sticks and a crafting table, you can pretty much craft just about anything in the game. From, like, nothing. Just the material, just the resources around you, realistically. I do... yeah, so I will make this better. And not eventually better. I will make this better within a short amount of time, basically, after I'm done building my house in this area. I will make this better. I also just realized that is a huge cave. So that could be our... because I went down there this way. Didn't mind this way. That could be where that maybe loops back into an ancient city. I don't know. But yeah, we're just going to mob-proof this for now. I'm also aware that they changed the lighting rules as well. It's now, you actually have to be lighting level 0 instead of just lighting level... It used to be 7 or under could spawn. So I don't need to be slamming torches this close together. I am still doing it anyway, just because it makes my eyes happy at nighttime when I'm not squinting and struggling to see things. I know for mob spawning purposes, I don't have to do it that way, but... God, that's the other thing. It's so crazy to think I'm like, oh, this is the low area of the valley. But no, it's the amplified world. So actually there's an entire under part of forest and grass to this area. This is just the top layer. Oh. Well, that's convenient. There's my vines. I'm gonna leave that and come back for those. This area I'm not gonna torch up too aggressively. I'll be honest. This area is gonna be a little scuffed for a while. Just for the simple reason of I don't really know how exactly I want to make this area yet. Just go ahead and get all this crap out of here. Or my designs, like obviously I know I want to do like a terraced farm thing. But I don't think I want to do it too aggressive. So I think I'll just do this and this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm not going to count. The leaf litter is... Okay, let's try not to die to an Enderman. Teleporting into my line of sight and then running my shit. Running my fade. Go ahead and chop this down. Just mainly want to get this planted before nighttime. Not that I think it's close to nighttime. I think I can burn leaf litter, but by God, I'm not interested. I'm also not interested in building with leaf litter, as you can tell. It's so weird. It's like I think it's nighttime, but then it's like, no, it's actually just like mid in the afternoon. It's just good old shaders, which is cool. I'm down into that. That's another reason why I really wanted Euphoria shaders. Complementary Unbound goes a long way to making Minecraft look like the shades like this very well. Euphoria shaders, the Euphoria patches, man, it's just the cream on. It's just a little bit extra on the top that it really needs to get there. Things like the shooting stars and the end fog, which you'll see eventually. The way the nether looks, especially the nether roof, it makes the nether roof actually like pleasant to be upon in terms of like the atmosphere. It's not just complete AIDS. In the nicest way possible to people who have AIDS. No, I'm not attacking people who have AIDS, but yeah, it does look terrible. It's almost like Mojang didn't intend people to ever get there when they designed it. Yeah, oh, look at how this looks. It's so good. Oh, this is just running through. This is gonna be a cool bridge, man. I was just thinking, like, this is like a bridge. Maybe I should do something like... I'm already getting ideas. Like, I could have maybe like a waterfall here, and I could submerge all of this through here eventually and bake like a aquifer dam there, and could have like an aqueduct running down into that cave down there. Another reason I like connected textures on a lot of this. Man, connected textures makes terraced farming look so good. Ridiculously good. It turns it from being like 0 out of 10 to like 10 out of 10 immediately. Just that. We will go ahead and torch this up just a itsy bitsy little bit. Just to keep the mobs, just to keep the hostile mobs from spawning at least directly on top of it and just curb stomping my wheat seeds all over. But like, look how good that looks with the connected textures. Like, I'm not going crazy. Ooh, almost just fell. Huh. Oh, that's because, right. Well, I can fix that actually by just doing this. Right? No, that does not really fix it. Okay. So I'll need a bit of a solution for that. I think the solution for this is going to be... Whoa. Okay, well, I didn't want him fucking raffle stomping my shit like that. Oh, I have a boat on me. That's convenient. Yeah, I do actually need this guy, though. So come with me, friend. I was... While I was off stream, I think I just aggroed another zombie, too. That's another thing I hate about zombies. Oh, no. I was thinking, like, villager trading. It's going to be hard. Now, obviously, I still need nether, basically technology, like nether tech, in terms of brewing stands, blaze rods, weakness potions. So that's going to be sugarcane, which I don't actually have sugarcane. Going to need fermented spider eye. That's easy enough to source if I actually bothered to like look and gather. Golden apple, I could craft that now. So it's really just brewing capabilities that's limiting me. We're just going to slam this guy into this boat and try to hand him that. Okay. That was what I was trying to avoid. I was like, let's make sure I don't accidentally like just kill myself by doing this. This would be an extremely sad and embarrassing way to end this world because this is a super cool seed and I am really digging this area. But I do want to row him in. Cool. We block him up like this. And then that'll be temporarily really annoying. Hearing his ass groaning every 2 seconds, but also keep in mind I am actively building my base out of this area that is like down there, so I do not actually care about hearing this garbage. Go ahead and trapdoor that up just to go ahead and put the vinyl seal on it. But yeah, those will be growing. What else? These copper tools, these are definitely just good to chuck now. We are well past copper. Stone. Let's see if I remember the recipe for a stone cutter. Doo-doo-doo. Perfect. We'll just take this with us. No reason to have that here. Take a stack of logs. Yeah, we'll take the doors. We'll use it. So I want, what is my gradient? I want this basically all this garbage I grabbed. Yep. All this. Andesite too. Bring in the andesite. Bring some of the scalp deep slate. Leave that. Cool. I always like basically to start with imagining the start of any project. Basically in my mind thinking like, what do I want my floors to look like? That is what I like starting my projects on. It's like, what do I want my floors to look like? That's how always how I like starting. Is what are the floors or the eventual floors will look like? And I think I want stone brick floors on this place. And just trying to think about. So come down here. This will be my. This is where I'm building here. So this will be my temporary staging. This copper hoe. Go ahead and pocket this. We also need a diamond shovel now. That is worth keeping. Diamonds, thank you. Very useful. Officially into the diamond tool stage. Let me look at diamonds as well. Do I have... I have 7. Is this 2 armor toughness? It is. So I will be taking this. And we can go ahead and dump the backup section of the copper legs. So yeah, as I sort of think over this in my head, so the reason I was looking for 2 armor toughness, for people who don't know what the difference between armor toughness and armor is, think of it in terms of there's 3 ways to reduce damage based off of armor in Minecraft. You have the enchantments, you have armor value, then you have armor value, which is here, and then you have armor toughness. Enchantments, blast protection, fire protection, feather falling, all do a percentile, not feather falling. I don't know about that, don't take my word. But fire protection, blast protection, projectile protection, and just protection all do a percentage. So if you have blast protection 4 on all of your armor pieces, you'll take, I think it is 80% reduced blast damage. Now, normal protection is less, but it protects against all, which is why people always run it. It's like, normal protection is just better because you never know what you're going to get into in terms of taking damage. Because in an ideal scenario, let's be real, you never take damage. So the thing with... Yeah, so the armor is a percentile. The... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, go 1 extra in this way. So, yeah, armor... The enchantments are percentage. Then the... armor value is flat damage, which is why better sources of armor scale. But the real big jump is iron to diamond. Now, realistically, leather armor with protection 4 is actually better for you than, like, diamond armor. Like, protection, the actual protection enchantment is nuts. But diamond armor is specifically very, very good because it gets armor toughness. Armor toughness lowers the amount of damage taken from big instances of damage. So armor toughness actually does... I'm just going to do normal stone brick. I know I could slab it. The reason I'm not doing that is because I think eventually I will build under here, and I don't want to have to then make my entire thing double-sided slabs. So, yeah. So armor toughness stops big damages. So things like explosions also count, but in PvP, a big thing is you're critting people out with axes a ton, right? Like that's like the primary way people are dealing damage in PvP in Minecraft, at least the last time I checked, if you're not being a total freak with doing like end crystal PvP. And I think the new thing is, well, there was mace PvP for a while, and then you can do like freaking respawn anchors and who knows what else god awful things people have dreamt up of. But yeah, like I think as well. Doop. And well, we'll do this. Yeah, it's good amount of durability. Same amount of durability for the shovel as in the axe, even though it's 1 diamond, so that's definitely a good value. But yeah, so it ticks off big sources of damage. So even stuff like getting hit by the Warden, or getting hit by a Ghast Fireball, or hit by a Piglin Brute's axe. So that's why armor toughness is important. Armor toughness combined with protection enchantments is really where the good shit happens in terms of anti-death. But that's sort of why I was aiming. So I know that the chest plate is +2 armor toughness. I think a netherite chest plate and leggings adds another bit of armor toughness, and I only have the 7 diamonds. I also, in this world, at the progress I'm going, I probably will end up with a diamond chest plate before I get to the end. But yeah, but yeah, the armor toughness is good. The other thing that really could have been argued in this case is saving those diamonds for an enchantment table. I'm close to level 30. I have lava, can go to the nether, and there is a thing of like, okay, I could get Eyes of Ender. With how far I'm out from spawn, realistically, I'm probably within about 800 blocks from one of these strongholds because I'm in that first like spawn ring area. But it's like, who's keeping track? who's keeping track? So what we're gonna do, we'll get in. Is there like a darker bit of andesite? No. We will take a stack of the andesite. Back into here. We're just gonna do like this. I think of like natural patterns I want to try to like sort of isolate and bring up emerging patterns. Making some patterns at first, some like straight bits. One thing you can do as well, if you don't have one of those mods that like, for example, making gradients is the way I can do it. The way I suggest doing it is you just do this, like, you can make your own color gradient and then just like just keep scrolling down, placing, and then just also, don't just place in the order, but also place erratically. You can also then just mix them like this, and say you can do this, and it's like, oh, it's my color gradient. And I'm just scrolling down and placing, down and placing. But yeah, this is like fairly randomized, which is what I'm going for. And then I'll give it some shape. Never really built in this way in style. Before. Kind of just freeballing it a little bit. I think I'll definitely incorporate some stone on this section. Don't mind like a little jutting out section. One that kind of starts from here in angles. This way, sort of. Almost looping, in a sense. Maybe even like a little tail coming up and off. Really just, I don't know, I sort of like, I think it's sort of like a Bob Ross style, like just sort of like, really just placing what feels good in the moment and not thinking twice about it. And then I'll worry about the definitive shape later on. And then I just want to immediately run away and get a look at it from a distance. Yeah, I really like that. That like emergent look, like the base of this building. I think that was him I heard. I don't know, I heard like a... sounded like a wandering trader. And realistically, it probably was, and he's probably gotten his ass stuck underground, but I don't have emeralds or really anything he might want anyway, so not much of a loss. So let me just go around. I'm gonna dig up some of this grass section, even like trailing like this. Even mixing in some of this diorite as well on like the lower sections. Let's get my tools grouped back together. Like weirder looking trails, various stones. This and put this in at the end of this tail. Sort of like deliberately torching the ends. Take one like over this way and definitely build it up too. In terms of like and I think combine some like gravel in as well. Like really keep this like built. Like even arcing off like this. Like a weird way. Another back look here. Yeah, I really like how this is evolving. Yeah. It's like chaotic, but also not. It's in a nice way. We have this dirt. I just want to peek up here. And just fucking seal that off for a second. This is definitely a place I'll definitely want to make a cut through eventually. Like, this is a prime spot instead of, like, going around, just, like, cutting through here for an eventual path. But for now, sealing it up, just adding safety. Yeah, this is really good. Yeah. Let's add one out, like, this way. Like, looping down almost here. And like coming up and over the side into like a dark, sharper peak. really filling in like through here as well, like this section. Adding that. Stable area. It's like a little peak almost here. Zone. This bit and this arch in here. Adding maybe like a... I think just filling in this wall almost in like a weird way. And like coming down here. Having maybe even like sort of like down and off. Taking this. Here as well. Looping. To like here. Taking a somewhat like chaotic, but also planned. Like there's a planned area in it, but taking like a less structured approach to the outside of the building. That is also something I'm a big fan of. I don't like chaotic insides. Some people I see them, they like build structures and like, you know, they'll build actual things like bedrooms and stuff, and it's like, trust me, I'll be quite frank with you, unless it's more of like a decorative building, you'll never catch me dead making a like you'll never catch me dead making a bedroom in Minecraft, because it's like, oh, I walk in here and here's like a pressure plate on a desk, and it's like, that's where I write, and it's like, okay, we're not fucking LARPing here. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That shit's useless and will never be used other than the one time you look at it and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I'm here to build... That's something that honestly makes me want to never play Minecraft again, is building non-functional buildings. The cool part about Minecraft, and something that really took me to another certain block game called Vintage Story, is functional versus non-functional buildings. Vintage Story is really good about like forcing you to make a bunch of different buildings because of how the game's temperature mechanic works. And it's like, man, you really need a lot of space to do a bunch of stuff, but also if it counts as outdoors, it's a pain to do that if you're anywhere above basically temperate climates. In Minecraft, you don't really have that. You can make a lawn base. You can make a platform lawn base, a 4-tall platform that's just completely flat. And it's just like, okay, fucking snooze. Snoozy snooze, right? I don't actually want to do that. But on that, I do actually want my buildings to be functional if I plan on living in them and using them. So that's where I really like to get funky on the outside. So that's a good base. Sort of thinking like a crumb, like as we go up, maybe about yay big, and like jagged bits of it are missing, wood on the top, like little platforms off the side that are like oak wood, sort of like a tower that had been built all out of all stone, has weathered and crumbled and fallen, then somebody's come in behind them and replaced the insides that you can't see technically, but the outside top bits with wood. I kind of like that idea. So on that, wood trapdoors are going to be my friend, because we need a window substitute, because we do not have glass. So we are going to get a plethora of wood trapdoors. Thank you. It's also why we started the wheat, because we have the 7 steak and then mutton. Sure, we can probably find some animals around here, but man, I don't want to be in a situation of waiting for food to grow. We haven't... It's also another reason I killed that zombie. I really would love to see carrots. Carrots would be better long-term. Potatoes would be a lot more convenient short-term. Potatoes are such a good early game source of food. They are very, very good. Are we dioriting? Yeah, we're dioriting. We're toughing. This is where we're going to break in the cobble too. So we're just going to build... Just go ahead and clear this. And we'll go ahead and put this here, Don't mind that. More diorite than cobble. So we're just gonna build like, not completely random, but we're just sort of like legitimately just taking a little dance across the keyboard. Little scroll wheel action here and just letting the emergent pattern develop on its own as we build up. Not worrying about how it looks in response to vertical or flat. And this is something, if you're doing this for the first time, I'll be quite frank, you sort of just have to, like, trust the process and just kind of fucking go for it. This feels so awkward and so sus. Like, holy crap. Like, all of the building you've done up until the point of, like, using gradients, and now this isn't obviously the only way to do gradients. There are other ways to do gradients, which are technically more professional and sound, but this is the poor man's gradient technique that I have sworn by for a while. For my novice status of building. But you sort of just have to full send, honestly. It's kind of dumb, it's kind of awkward the first time you do it. It's kind of something that's really not intuitive, and you kind of feel like it's awful and you're messing everything up, but then you just sort of like full send and it kind of just works out okay in the end. And it's kind of interesting how that does end up happening. And sometimes you can make like spot corrections, or if you see like an emergent pattern like this that you want to like sort of keep, it's like, oh, it's kind of cool to have like a little zigzag of like diorite and sort of like do that, you know? And there's also nothing stopping you from coming back through, of course, after. And you also don't have to do it in this way. You can sort of like, nothing stopping you from, you know, up in 3, and it's just, I find this is like definitely safer to build with, I'd say. If you're just mashing shift, it's kind of, you know, harder to fall off while you're just mainly focused on your scroll bar. While I'm doing this, obviously can't see my face. And I don't have like an eye tracking cam or whatever like some people have. But I'm not even looking at the wall. I'm not even looking at the actual build. My eyes are literally entirely on my hotbar. As I'm building like this. Now keep in mind, I'm not a professional builder, and I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there who says this probably looks like complete trash. Which, if they did, I'm not gonna sit here and try to like defend myself and be like, no, it doesn't look awful. It doesn't look awful to me, and that's all that really matters. I'll just take this fault. We'll come take our. This is another thing. Don't look at the build up close for the first time. You need to make sure every view is as if you're trying to see it for the first time. It's honestly better even if you take a view from like this around the corner to see it like emerge naturally. This looks very rundown and broken. What is this missing though when you're looking at this? Very first thing, it's depth. You have contrast, we have shading-ish. I mean, my version of shading, it's missing depth. It's too boxy. The bottom, like, and it's the transitions right here. This looks so good down here. This looks like a crumbly ass box. So, how do we fix this? Well, the first thing we can do is we will ourselves in summon, and we type in / please add vertical slabs, dear God, into command. And so, oh no, for some reason it doesn't work. Probably because I said dear God, not dear God with D-E-A-R. But yeah, that would be a very easy way to add depth here, is vertical slabs and then ingressing into it, and then vertical slabs in the pockets, and it would make a very like nice flushing. Unfortunately, you know, this is where I would put my vertical slabs if I had one, right? We don't. I mean, no vertical slabs for us. We are poor. So instead, I'm just going to do like this. I'm going to add verticality where we have already sort of like pre-annoyed that we kind of want some. And it can kind of be awkward and kind of shit at first, because that's fine. I'm basically doing the same exact thing I did on the opposite path, on the other side of this, like on the ground side, but in the other direction, basically just taking it up the wall. And then coming down with it. Gravel's also amazing. I really love gravel because gravel just places itself naturally. It's kind of just like the perfect noob block. And like it's sort of like one of those blocks that people who like don't build a bunch don't like. I'd say like traditional builders of like the wood cobble enjoyers like don't really think about gravel, but gravel's so OP because you can sort of just like do that with it, and it kind of just works. Like you just kind of spam it, and it just kind of falls. Like take this. I'm just gonna mash. I'm just gonna mash fucking a bunch of gravel all over the place here, and just literally just go crazy. Obviously here, that kind of great. Boom. Gravel has been mashed. You can kind of just come back in and around and do some other crap and jump around and put some gravel there too, and it's kind of just okay. And then here, I think what we're gonna do, I have an idea, a little brain blast. We can do this and this, and this is cooking this one up on the fly. I think this will look really good. What we can do is I want something coming across here, and we can just make a big pile of gravel and crap down here. Sort of like pretending that like this sort of like, and we'll do like this almost, sort of like, and this sort of like to signify it, sort of like this fell, and now we've got like these posts holding it up. Definitely adds like depth and a lot of stuff going on. So now we need to head inside. Let's just go ahead and craft another crafting bench in preparation. So now we have the inside. So now what we need to do is I need more slabs. And I'm just going to start here. Slabs and stairs. So what I want is a 2 big stairs starting here. Get to here. Slab completely off here. Here. Landing. Stair. Landing. Stair. Landing. Stair. Big landing. Stair, big landing, stair, landing, big stair, landing. We can go torches here on all these corners to ensure we keep proper light. Then what I want to do is here we'll just literally try to punch out. You can see here that like this is where our thing comes, and I'm just gonna literally punch straight through here. Put windows. I'm going to come to this. Then we will come to technically be here, but I think this is like dummy buried at this point, right? Actually, not that bad. Okay, so we're definitely putting one here. try to put one here. Perfect. It's sort of like dealing what you're working with, which is... Oh, okay, that's annoying. Like, you know, I don't have glass, so I'm sort of just like letting... This is what I sort of mean by like... What I like to do is I like to build my builds based off the materials I have. I really, my biggest pet peeve is some people will like... Very few people, I'll be honest. Some people, though, they'll see like a place like this, and they'll just like import materials from far off distances, like prismarine and sandstone, and start building with it. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, if I'm gonna build with, like, in certain materials, I think have big crossovers. Like spruce wood, dark oak wood, a lot less. Quite frankly put, if you, I think you're honestly psychotic if you build outside the overworld with dark oak wood. That's my opinion. But like spruce oak, what the fuck? All right, I'm gonna try to just rush this guy down. Okay, well, I'll take the crossbow. That's kind of scary. Those two guys had enchanted bows. I don't really know, or enchanted crossbows. I don't really know what they were enchanted with, but wasn't really hoping to find out that they had, you know, piercing or something and just clap me. All right, back to our building. So we've got windows. Some of the, yeah, they're not going to be super noticeable. Then I think we're just going to add literally at random points here. Just trapdoors along mainly the main central points. Like this. Then also adding like this. And also like here. Sort of like pretending that this is like wooden reinforcements and bracings to the tower. Sort of like it's falling, it's crumbling, but we're shoring it up. We're putting like, we've got trapdoors here. We've got this like, you know, bracing going up along here. We're shoring it up over here. We've got our windows. The tower's been destroyed, but we're reclaiming it. Let me hang this up underneath the staircase. Tower's been destroyed, but we are here. We are reclaiming it. I always like to just make the cutoff the other side like this. That's another like big thing with staircases is making sure it's not like a head knocker. That can be really annoying and awkward. I'm going to put torches above every window just for good lighting, sanitary reasons, but also it should help it shine brighter through the windows, make it more revealing. Up top, I want to do like this. I do want the wood to show on the top. Go 1, 2, 3, 3. Then flat along. Like in the middle sections. And then put torches. So this is obviously like the newer repaired section up top, so we can have it be, you know, like this. We've got 3 left, so we do have an abject center here-ish. But we will take it with this. Just need a bit more wood. Yep, just some more oak. Let me look at the outside real quick. Yeah, I like that top. Looks really good. There's some dead spots up here I'm not a big fan of, but we can fix that. I think we just need really just this. Keep this 18. I need a lot of these bad boys. It's honestly not enough, so we're gonna need more stick. So let me get a full stack of that. Want some stick. We're also gonna want decent amount more slab too. So inside, the first thing I want to do is I actually just want to go straight up with a wood beam. Eventually, I think I'll put a flag up here. Like an actual, like, wool flag. Like, not a big one, but probably just like a little 5-block long little swoop flag almost. Here, I just want to do this. That is a staircase. Right, because I did not follow how I was doing the rest of them with this. So here we need to make this a slab. Which means removing this. It also means turning this. And backfilling this. Makes these awkward to stand on. I just want to bring some more depth into the build by just bringing these, just finishing out this section here like this, making it seem like there's some real big, you know, it is supported, there's some like big support action going on through here. Then we just finish this down on all sides. Are kind of supported up now. And we want to take the rest of this and like here on this blank spot, just go ahead and like bring it up this way, bring some down. Bring some down like this way. Sort of just do some interesting things with the wood. Another pillar like here would be kind of cool, just one like here. Little torch on it. I like it. So in here, we'll just go ahead and grab. So yeah, if you couldn't tell by now, this is was never planned to be like some big grandiose build. So we'll just start. We'll do our now blocks. Do what I sort into. I'll do building blocks down there, tools in here, misc stuff, right? No, we'll do tools at the top, misc, and valuables here. Take a look from a different angle. Yeah, I kind of like this. Trying to imagine it if like wood was bleeding down. It's just hard to do Oak wood gradient. Probably not the hardest thing in the world, but it is hard for someone who's not the best at building like myself. But I think that's fine for now. If I have an idea on that top, I'll change it later on. This chest, I think what I'm going to do is just put it like back here, sort of like an impromptu dump chest maybe. Like a true, I don't have enough time to sort through stuff. I'm just dumping. I've just got to dump and go. Go ahead and gather up the rest of the stuff as the very familiar at this point rain begins anew. We are dry out of here, which is nice. That is something I forgot about here. Yeah. Making sure the other bits of the downstairs cases have their connectors. Cool. Building blocks, of course. This is not a building block, no offense, Birch, but you are furnace fuel, my friend. 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's a 12 rack of furnaces. We'll shove another crafting bench under here. This is mask. This is our valuables chest. Too much crap. Now that we have a valuables chest, start actually sorting it properly. This stuff, that's valuable. Grab another. Mesk. Tool. 6 I count as tools. I'm kind of psychotic like that. I'll count sticks as tools. Sticks are the tools for innovation. So we can go ahead and dump that and that and that. Yeah. Alright, we're chilling. This row thing is kind of cool. I kind of like doing it at times. The one thing it really breaks down upon is, if you notice, the comparative lack of... Well, this is why this doesn't really fit. But you'll notice one thing you're missing in here, diamonds. Yep, the old diamonds. So that'll have to go somewhere else. I'm keeping these boots around, if you're wondering why I'm tossing everything else but the boots. They'll be good for the nether. They have prot 2 on them, so they're actually better than these iron boots, which is coincidentally why I'm not wearing them, because I want to save them for the nether. Actually, they're actually better than my current gear. But yeah. We've gotten our house built. We've got our area semi-lit up. Lightning is striking our thing. Which reminds me of, we should probably make one of these. And if we get some of this, I think we'll just use sort of this, actually. Definitely a little bit more scuffed than the actual build. Whoa. But good. Yeah, very nice. But it will protect our wooden roof from lightning strikes. Very low chance. Honestly, this will get struck a lot more than this ever would have a risk of happening, but this already did get struck once. It's also another sort of caveat. Stairs and slabs don't burn, but I believe fences can burn. So I think I would be at most really just at risk of losing like the fences, and maybe completed slabs count as like blocks that can burn. I don't know. But I know that fences, I think, can burn, or they can't, and I'm just completely capping. Regardless, it wouldn't be that bad in terms of fire damage, considering, you know, we built the literal all stone house and everything, you know, so it's not like it would have been the end of the world in terms of damage. I get why that didn't connect. Okay. No, that's not doing it. Alright, whatever. It's just wanting to be annoying. What did we get? 6 feet. Okay. Good enough. Expanded it. We'll just want to keep expanding that. We might end up with bread. That's another reason our nether progress is sort of like hard limited by the fact of our food. We're going to literally chew through food in the nether on regen, and I'm gonna want like a stack of food before we realistically try to go to the nether, because yeah, it's gonna be pretty awful for the food situation. No harm in putting a torch up there too. Yeah, these windows, they're not bad. Really, the main thing is just this observation area up here. Super nice. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to call it for now. I will see you guys in the next stream. But yeah, this was a good time. Have a good one.